Brett Mix here, Mixer Madness. Welcome back to the Monday Night Wars. This is week 69, episode for Nitro, February 10th, 1997, the 74th episode. In the 69th week, they've gone head-to-head with Raw. Nitro beats Raw for the 32nd week in a row. The score was 3.8 in the ratings for Nitro, and the 2.3 is the rating for Raw. Through 69 weeks, Nitro has 50 wins. WWF is 17, and 2 of them have been draws. So this is the Nitro with the 3.8 rating in the ratings. 3.8 from Jacksonville Coliseum in Jacksonville, Florida. For the first hour of Nitro, it's Zbyszko and Schiavone, and then it's Tenay and Heenan with Schiavone, assuming the NWO don't break it up. Raw wasn't on this Monday night, so the 3.8 rating helped. That's what helped the 3.8 rating. Raw was on Thursday, so Thursday is the Raw that went against this Nitro. Normally, in this kind of scenario, I would skip because of the Monday Night Wars, but since they just delayed the show, they didn't cancel the Raw, they just delayed it a couple days. That's why I'm comparing Raw Thursday to this one, because there was no Raw Monday. There was Raw Thursday, obviously. So that was going against this one, and that's the ratings. 2.3 for Raw, 3.8 for Nitro. We open up with Malenko facing Eddie Guerrero for the U.S. title and the Cruiserweight title. Both titles are on the line. Malenko, the Cruiserweight champion, doesn't have the belt on him because Six has it. He stole the title, but it's not his, but Six is just carrying it around. Malenko speaks, and he says Six, if he knows what's good for him, to show up, and if he wants a manly challenge, show up. Eddie has his U.S. title when he comes to the ring. Six stole that a month ago before their match had sold out, but he has his back. So we get an Eddie Malenko match in under 5 minutes, and they did really well. Drop to hold into a front face lock, back into a hammer lock, as Eddie and Malenko do their awesome chain wrestling sequences. They did a snapmare takeover after a full Nelson and a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, an Irish rip into the ropes, an arm drag takedown followed by a Hurricane Rana by Eddie. Malenko with a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker and a near fall. Malenko shows leg strength to Eddie with a release German suplex. Six comes out now as Malenko goes to powerbomb Eddie. Eddie countered it with a sunset flip and a leg lock by Malenko, who rolls out of it into a bridge. Eddie is pressed down. In the end, Malenko wins by countout at 4:57. Such a great match for under 5 minutes. I rated it 3 stars. Eddie rolls out of the bridge, and he stole the title from Six, who escapes. So he's carrying the title storyline continues. DDP comes out to make a statement, and he says that he says that maybe the stupidest thing, but he's done. He's tired of running. If something's going to happen, let it happen. He sits in the chair in the middle of the ring, and Sting and Savage, both of them, Randy Savage and Sting together. This is the Crow Sting, and this is a dark Randy Savage in dark gear. He's not in the NWO or anything yet, but he's wearing dark gear, and they stand together. They come to the ring. Sting points the bat at DDP, and DDP takes it and goes to the corner. Sting drops the bat and then goes like this with his arms spread, and DDP doesn't hit him. And then Randy Savage kicked the chair that DDP was sitting in at his back, and they didn't hit each other, but DDP just let them stand. So they left the ring. Sting and Savage left the ring. It was a test or an initiation of some kind. But either way, Nitro was off to a hot start with the good Malenko Guerrero match, the good Sting and Savage DDP segment. It had you captivated, compelled. That's all you can ask for. Conan defeats Bob Eaton with a leapfrog and then to a perfect plex at 122. I rated it half a star. Next, Luger was going to take on Ron Powers, but Eric Bischoff came by and says that he can't wrestle with the cast, so Giant took his place, and Giant ended up beating Ron Powers at 147. I rated it at half a star. Luger comes out to the Giant to cut a promo, and they say that either Luger's going to wrestle against the Outsiders or not at Super Bowl 7 in San Francisco in a couple weeks. Either way, the Giant says he's going to be the new tag team champions with Luger. He's going to give one belt to Luger once he beats the Outsiders on his own. So the Steiner brothers then take on High Voltage. Rick tags in and he circles Robbie Rage, backing him into the corner in a clean break as Rage kicks him, and off the corner, a spine buster from Rick to Robbie Rage into an armbar. Rick Steiner tags in Scott, who hangs Robbie in the Tree of Woe. Upside down is kicked at in the corner. A knee lift. Scott Steiner hits a military press. The fans bark as he tags in Rick again, and Rick goes to work, this time on Kenny Chaos with a power slam. A springboard plancha inside the ring by Kenny Chaos, but Rick Steiner grabbed him in midair and hit a belly-to-belly suplex. Then they came off with the Steiner Bulldog off the top, and the Steiners won the match at 4:30. I rated it a star and 3/4. The NWO was seen arriving. The NWO 6, the Outsiders, Ray Trailer and company out of the limo. Schiavone says Piper will be here tonight. Zbyszko and Schiavone then know the deal as Bischoff and the Outsiders come and they take over commentary. Randy Anderson, the fired referee who's battling cancer, came to the stage where Bischoff was commentating with his family, his son, his daughter, and his wife. And he said, "Look at who this is affecting. Please give me my job back." And Bischoff says, "You know what? You're still fired." And then the Bischoff and the Outsiders laugh. And then Bischoff says, "You know what? To prove I have a heart, next week, if you take on Nick Patrick, the NWO referee, if you take on Nick Patrick next week, I'll give you your job back." Randy Anderson says, "You know what? I got kids. I'm wrestling cancer. I'll wrestle him." So that's match between the referees is on for next week on Nitro. The Outsiders then take apart the Team Extreme. They're called The Extreme. It's Ace Darling and Devin Storm, and they lose in about a minute 27. Outsiders won the match. They rated it 3/4 of a star for a squash match, which is all you need sometimes, is a squash match to make talent look good. It was somewhat watchable. Then we had Regal and Mysterio going to a time limit draw. A great match. I rated it 3 stars as Lord Steven Regal defended the TV title against Mysterio, who had all sorts of high-risk maneuvers to Regal. Kevin Sullivan with Jacqueline and Jimmy Hart took on Maverick Wild. Sullivan with a running knee to Maverick Wild in the corner and ruthless chops. Jacqueline on the outside snapmared him and power slammed Maverick Wild. Jacqueline's this badass chick. Sullivan had him in a tree of row and hit the running double stomp and won at 2:13. Rated at 3/4 of a star. Sullivan says more stuff about Nancy and Chris. He says that they come from a community, but he and Jacqueline come from a neighborhood. Jacqueline is a lot different than Nancy. Then they show Piper last week with a segment with his son Colt, and then Hollywood Hogan embarrassing him in front of his son, and how he grabbed Hollywood Hogan and Bischoff after his son left the ring, and he gave them a double noggin knocker. Hugh Morris took on Alex Wright. Morris defeated Wright at 2:27 in a squash match. I rated it a star. Morris hit him with a powerbomb and then pinned him clean. Chris Benoit and Steve McMichael take on Jeff Jarrett and Chavo Guerrero. Benoit begins in the ring with a chop to Chavo. Her Hurricane Rana to Benoit twice before a backbreaker into a snapmare and a lateral press. Chavo drop kicks Benoit and Jarrett comes in, drops the knee with force. Double J drops up Benoit down with a suplex and then strutted. Double J into the side ropes, hit by Steve McMichael on the side ropes. Deborah on the outside goes to aid Jeff Jarrett, even though she's Steve McMichael's woman. It's in the name, Deborah McMichael. But she has a soft spot for Jeff Jarrett on the outside, which throws Steve McMichael off. But Benoit is ducking a leapfrog by Chavo, goes to hit him with a power slam. Chavo with a moonsault to Benoit, but Steve McMichael breaks up the count. Deborah's still outside with Jeff Jarrett. She's sort of touching his suspenders and making moves on him, it looks like. She's inspecting his suspenders, says Mike today on commentary as Schiavone laughs. Steve McMichael with a tombstone as they cover Chavo. In the end, Benoit and McMichael get the win at 4:01 after Deborah clearly had her eyes on Jarrett, and Steve McMichael has no idea what happened. The Horsemen cut a promo after the match. They talk about how Deborah talks about how she wants Jeff Jarrett in the group. McMichael isn't so sure, obviously, after all this. I rated it a star and 3/4. After the match, to end the show, Roddy Piper said he didn't come out here to talk in no split-screen segment with Hogan on a satellite from Hollywood, California. But Hogan's in black and white on a split screen on one camera. Piper's in the ring on the other. And they just bash each other, leading to their Super Bowl VII match for the world title in less than 2 weeks on pay-per-view. Piper throws out tons of insults. He asks, "What, are you guys married, you and Bischoff?" To Hollywood Hogan. Hogan and Piper rather say a bunch of stuff to each other. Piper then says, in the OJ case, some said guilty, some said innocent. Well, I'm going to be guilty after Super Bowl, and you're going to be finished. And that's how they ended the show, with Piper growling at the top of the stage. I rated it a 7.5 out of 10 because the wrestling was good, the storytelling was great, and the segments flowed very well. So it scored a 3.8 in the ratings and a 7.5 in quality. I'm Brett Mix, and I'll see you on the next Nitro review. I'm out.